Well, hello, my silky friends. How are you doing? I don't know if it's storming where you are, but it is a dark and rainy night. Sounds like a horror novel. And honestly, what we're going to be talking about tonight is straight out of your own nightmares. Um, hey, Buckeye, how you doing? I see other people lurking. Don't lurk. Say hello. Um, what's up, Buckeye? Kay, hello. Yes, it is a very interesting topic, and I'm just going to tell you, I have been horrified and I have committed the AI sins as well. I'll tell you about that. Sunflower, hello. How are you? Jamie, how you doing? Good to see y'all. And I know Wednesdays sometimes are they can be busy, and I know we'll have more people join us in a little while. But if you're on the replay crew, and I get tons more on replay because nobody the time, but please give me a thumbs up. Put a comment on the video, say replay, so I know. I want to know who my AI, people are. Because I cover a lot of topics. But this one, y'all, this one is horrifying. And let me just tell you, the more I dive into it, the more unnerved I get. And so I'm going to be, talking with Tyler, and he's going to be coming from a creator aspect in music. I'm coming from a creator aspect in art and content creation and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I realized I could be replaced so easy. Hello, Lisa. Good to see ya. All right, I'm not going to keep talking. I want to introduce Tyler to y'all. And Tyler has what he has named the Hudgins Project, and so he's going to be kind of relaunching. He does have a YouTube channel right now, and he can share that in the comments if he wants to. But I didn't know if he wants to do that or wait till he rebrands. But anyway, I'll let you. I'll keep you up to date with that. I have known Tyler for I don't know how many years now, and let me just tell you, Tyler is an wonderful, wonderful musician, singer, the whole 9 yards. Computer, like, look, he does it all. And so, being so computer savvy, unlike me, when he reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and he said, "Hey, I want to talk about this," I guess I was kind of surprised because AI is such a big part, even of what I do. And it doesn't, because I do live streams and I do videos, it doesn't seem like I might use AI that much, but let me tell you, I do. And so he was telling me some of his concerns about where he sees this headed. So if you know any musicians, singers, artists, content creators, if you do any kind of online stuff, yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. So I want to bring him on right now. And everybody say hello to Tyler.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for having me, Miss Southern Tea.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. I mean, God, sorry, I got got distracted. My audience knows me. I goof up. Who's your daddy? Good to see ya.
Who's your daddy? That's a
I
good
know.
one. That's a good one.
Who's your dad? I know. I crack up. Yeah. Who's your hangs out here a lot. But yeah, so I know there's a lot of stuff to cover, and I just in the last 2 days have been researching even more than I did when I was with Humanetics. So the horror, and I'm going to show you some videos. The horror is starting to really get deep now. So
Right.
tell me how did you get here?
Oh man. So, all right. So I was working an overnight job at a gas station, I had been for a lifetime. It was about a 6 month period, and it was soul crushing. I hated it, and I would ironically spend most of my night complaining to Chat GPT because it's like an interactive diary. I use it to catalog thoughts, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
is what I want to do. I want to go full time with my music, and it's like, well, that would be great. And then I'm like, but AI already does it a lot better than I could, and a lot cheaper too. And it spiraled out of control. It's like, well, this is what GPT told me, and this set me off on this. It was like pushing a rock over a hill. It told me, well, there is going to be a place for music creators and artists in the future, and what that's going to look like is just refining what AI makes. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not creative at all. Refining source material that's AI. Well, what's the point in that? Like, that's a whole different skill set than music or playing or
Yeah.
drawing or.
And so, uh, let's see. Let me just say hello to Emerald Wonderland. Hello, hello. Sunflower. Hoosier, you're a singer too? Cool. Like to
Usually,
hear you
we
sometime.
might have to collab. We'll put Mr. Daddy up there. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm all for that. If you wanna give us a demo. Uh, absolutely. So so you're talking to Chat GPT about how to further your music, how to do this full time.
Hmm.
And so Chat GPT is what? Telling you AI?
Basically, ChatGPT basically said, "Well, you can do it. There's always going to be a need for human creators." And what it ultimately told me was that need in a corporate world, kind of this corporate kind of technocracy that I really see us heading towards, is going to be scaled back quite a bit, because who cares when 45 seconds and one person can replace an entire team of 50 or more? That's a lot of salary you're cutting down. If you ask me, I think we should make something like Chad GPT a CEO, because I mean that's a big chunk of money. You save $20 a month, and it makes all the right decisions. That's what I want in my company.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's the thing because I use AI and I do use it limited. Um but I use it more for things that I it takes me too long to think about, video descriptions, titles,
Hmm.
hashtags, things like that. Sometimes I will throw an article up to I use several. I use Grok, I use ChatGPT, I use Perplexity, and
Hmm.
now I use Manus as well. And so, it's kind of like I'll throw up a video link and say, "Hey, or a news article," and I'm like, "Please, it's like forever long. Condense this for me. I want to know what it says." So to me, those kind of things are very helpful. And I'm like,
Hmm.
go AI. And then, and then I started realizing exactly where we're headed, and it is horrifying.
It is. It is. It is.
Um,
I think AI is a great tool. But I think it's just that, like, it's like a screwdriver in my mind. I'm not gonna sit here and try trying to get a screw out with my hand. I'm gonna use a screwdriver. That's the way I see it. But I mean, you can't really replace a human using a screwdriver, in my opinion. But that's, I think, what we're gonna try to do. Uh,
um, Yeah, well, I've come across some very horrifying TikTok videos, but then you have a few things. You sent me some material that you were talking about several different things. I think the first one started with a Coca-Cola ad.
oh
So
yeah.
what was that about?
Oh yeah. Well, so essentially, I think it was 2023. Coca-Cola released their holiday ad. Coca-Cola, thinking back to, like, as long as I can remember, like, their Christmas time stuff, like, that was their big push. That was what, you know, that was one of the things that helped Christmas feel like Christmas, was their the Coca-Cola ads, and all
Oh
that sorts
yeah.
of apparel. Like, we have all sorts of Coca-Cola ornaments hanging on our tree every year, going back a long way. But in 2023 they released their holiday ad, and it was like an homage back to, like, one ad that they had in the 90s called "Holidays Are Coming" or something like that. and it was mostly done by AI. They called it real AI magic, but I mean,
Mhm.
what it was, they replaced illustrators, animators, VFX artists, everything from the trucks to the animals to the uh, actors, the people was AI. Now, ironically, the music was done the old-fashioned way, but
Wow.
the graphics and the visuals, it was all AI. It was all AI, and I'm sure they had someone refining it in a VFX department, but that department's now one or two people, and it just that's what it was, and it was disgusting to look at.
I don't remember what 20. I'll have to go back and see if I can find that. Um, but yeah, I mean, you're talking about, the big push is, oh, AI is going to save so many jobs. It's going to take away the stuff that you hate doing. It's going to make it better. And I'm like, okay, but you just whittled down a department here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what are we going to do? Like, are you going to pay me to stay home? Because I'm good with that, honestly.
What a great job that would be.
I know, right? Stay at home and live stream every day. Yeah, that'd be like cool. I wouldn't mind that a bit. But and I'm of course in healthcare. I always thought, well, they're not going to replace a nurse with robots. And then I literally saw a video of these robots doing healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
like and I'm like, oh well, hmm.
Yeah.
Guess I better find a side hustle.
Well, we're on like the cutting edge, the new iPhone. It's like you go back to the early 2000s and mid 2000s, and where everybody's trying to make a better smartphone. You go from the BlackBerry to I don't remember what version iPhone it was, but then Steve Jobs, hey everybody, you can touch the screen, and also it's a computer, and everybody, that was like that's something that if it hasn't been, it'll probably go into the National Library, the Library of Congress or whatever it is, the whole unveiling of the touchscreen iPhone. But that's kind of what we're in. Everybody wants to be an AI curator. Everybody wants to put out the next best AI, and that's kind of what we're seeing in any field that they can help optimize, any field that they can insert AI into. They're going to. And healthcare especially. I could see where it might uh, come into place.
Yeah.
I think that I've lost my train of thought. That's what I that's what I think. So, you know,
That's okay. Happens to me all the time. Um, Let me see here. Mar, hello. How are you? Good to see ya. Um, yeah. So, uh, okay. So, what was the next thing that because like you've said and I've said, AI is great for some things. I use it. What was
mhm.
the next biggest, I guess, red flag?
The next biggest red flag, it was actually this personal thing. So I was at this place, and a good friend of mine at this place. It was a church. But he came up to me. I was the pianist there, and Tyler, I have put together this album. I'm really proud of it. I want you to hear it. And I listened to it, like he's selling merch for it. He's selling vinyls. He's selling all this, and it's blatantly generated by AI. Like I don't know if he wrote the lyrics, but he didn't write anything else. Like he put together an album overnight, and then he started. Tyler, this is the best thing. This is wonderful. I would love for you guys to do this. And I'm like, why would I want to do that? There's no, there's nothing behind it. That was like the
Yeah.
next thing for me. I'm like, well, if this guy out here in backwoods Alabama, is putting together a whole album overnight with art and merch, and not to mention the music itself, with just
Yeah.
probably text prompts like, well, what does that look like in 5 6 years? What does that look like in 10 years?
Yeah. I mean, I have not written that much. I've written a few songs and usually because that's not really where I was focused. But I start with a thought, and a lot of times it's just, pure inspiration, and you can get a lot of it done. But then there's always some part of that song that you're like, okay, I kind of know what I want to say, but it doesn't. How do I put the words in here to flow? Does it need to
Mhm.
rhyme? Or at least, not be. And so, but that's the human part of it.
Mhm.
That is the human part of it, and the thoughts that we have. And so, to me, that's the soul of the song.
Yeah.
And so, but now, and I haven't tried to write anything in a long time, but I'm like, actually, you could ask Chat GPT, hey, I'm trying to get this thought out, but I need it to flow. I need it to write. Like, what can I say here? I mean, boom, there's your
Mhm.
lyric.
Yeah, and it's like it's not just one line. It's like, oh well, I see you're trying to write about the most obscure topic. Here's 25 options for you to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. So, and I've listened to some AI songs. Um, Actually, the lyrics, I haven't been a big fan of the music itself as much,
Hmm.
but some of the lyrics are really good. I'm like,
Yeah, they are.
dang.
They are, and it's like sometimes it's already indistinguishable, and it's like this is the early phase of it too. We're on the first release of the iPhone, and my concern really is future proofing creative areas, creative jobs, or jobs just in general. Because I mean, right now, what's taking the biggest hit are secretarial roles. Secretarial roles. They
Mhm.
and creative roles are paid a lot more typically, and we're already seeing big corporations, Coca-Cola, uh, for example, already limiting the human element as much as possible.
Yeah. I wanted to throw this up here. Buckeye says you have a DJ's voice.
Oh, thank you, Buckeye.
He
I
does. Hey,
grew
Four
it myself.
Pits. Good to see ya. Hope you're doing good. Nina Kring, hello. I'm not convinced AI was ever there to help the average person, but it's marketed to us as helpful for the sake of acceptance. Um, I mean, I'm kind of I'm kind of in between. It's like I have this one thought, the more I study, AI is bad. And yet I'm kind of, like cheating with AI.
I'm gonna go
It's
on a
like
diet,
I
and
get
then
my
it's
private conversations. And I tell you what, Tyler, during I'm trying to think who it was. Oh, I know who it was. A lady in my chat yesterday morning said she used Chat GPT as her therapist.
hmm
And, you know, well, there's one job gone. But
yeah,
oh no. All right. Something just happened to my lights. Keep talking, Tyler. And I'm gonna try to get my lights back on.
sure thing. You've put a lot of pressure on me here to keep talking. Um, well, I mean, Chat GPT being a therapist, like that is something that I could see too. I know that when I was looking through Chat GPT, like they have the extensions, and there was one for therapy. And I consider myself a bit mentally unstable, so I start talking to it, and it's asking all the right questions. It's like, why would I pay somebody for this when I could use Chat GPT for it, and it's like it's asking all the same questions, probably even more accurate questions than the human counterpart would. And what a wild
Mhm.
phrase, the human counterpart, you know. But
Yeah. I mean, I've never used it as a therapist, but I can see where somebody that we both know was telling me a couple months ago that he uses Chat GPT, like he has full blown long
hmm
conversations. And I'm like, I don't have the patience. I don't have the time. Like, I just want information. But, there have been some horrifying stories out there,
oh yeah,
relationships where the AI has told the person, to unalive themselves and join me in the cyber
Yeah.
world, and it's insane to me. But yeah, I guess I'm old school. Let's see. Nina Crane says lack of rhyming and flow. I think that's why some musicians mumble when they sing. Could be. Have you ever had? I have. Oh, Tyler, we lost you.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm still here, I think. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All
I
right.
can hear you. We just couldn't see you. Y'all in across Alabama right now. There's a lot of bad storms,
Mhm.
so we're having. I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know what's going on with me, but technical difficulties tonight. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I have been in the. Have you ever been in the middle of the song and you don't like before the days of having the iPad up there in front of you? I mean, you forget like you've sung this song 100 million times, and all of a
Mhm.
sudden you're up there and you just go "Phew, brain dead.
Yeah.
I have mumbled through, whatever words a lot of times. I'm like, I don't know. There's no rhyme and flow here, but I have no backup.
If I'm in church singing, that's when the Holy Spirit hits me usually, and
Yeah,
I start, you know, oh, I
yeah,
can't sing right now. Let's go to the
exactly.
chorus. Yeah.
Guilty, guilty. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's like, oh, that's where you just ad lib. Thank you, Jesus. Because I don't know. I'm lost as a goose here. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's those little iPads are lifesavers, and then the way they project in some places you have the projector of the computer on the back wall, so the words are up there in case
Mhm.
you spaz out. But back in the day, we couldn't do that. Um, but yeah, that's just that's normal.
Mhm.
Uh, are people really less mentally stable, or is it that we're just being pulled in more directions all the time? Good question. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think that it truly is that we're pulled in more directions all the time, and I think that this really is more of a Western culture kind of problem too. When I worked at the gas station, I met a lot of wonderful people, and one of my favorites was the homeless man that lived in a tent out back. He was banned from the property, but I just brought him in for coffee because he's a good conversationalist.
Yeah.
But he was from Egypt, and
Wow.
he came up to me one night. I'd stepped outside to sweep the parking lot, and he comes up to me and he says that he says, "Is that your car?" And he points over to my SUV, and I'm like, "Yeah." And how old are you? I was 20 25, and that's yours. Did your family buy it for you? And I'm like, no, no, my family definitely did not buy that for me. And he, well, how did you get it at such a young age? And I'm like, well, I went to work and saved the money. And he, see, it's just too fast over here. How do you keep yourself above water? I'm like, I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, maybe it's just because growing up in this society and this culture, it's really fast paced from the get go. And then I look at his situation. He's living behind the gas station, and he called it his VIP lounge, and he would invite the my coworker in there all the time. But it was, but he's like he's struggling to stay afloat over here, and from the times I've talked to him, he never had any problems with mental health until he came here, and now suddenly he's homeless. He's being put up into psych wards. He's being he has no understanding of anything, and he's being pulled in all these different directions, and it literally tore him apart from the
Wow.
inside out. And it's like it was such a sad story, and but I think that kind of speaks to that. It's like maybe people are mentally unstable because they're being pulled so many directions so quickly. People can only stretch so far.
Yeah, I guess it would be really hard for somebody from a different culture. But like you said, we're raised in it, so we're kind of used to it. You jump on that bandwagon pretty early. Um, and but I wonder too if like we're saying, AI takes all these jobs, then you're going to have a lot of people who all of a sudden can't work or have to work jobs that I don't even know what jobs AI couldn't do.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, literally robots can do just about anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, so what are we going to do? And you're talking about a mental health crisis that would be astronomical because you lose everything. You can't work, you can't pay your mortgage and your car payment and all that.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. I did want to say this, Nina. I agree. Healthcare intuition is something that can't be learned or taught. True, but the smarter these AIs get, I that's what I always thought. I'm like, okay, I'm safe. I'm safe, right? Um Now I have to think, am I really? Because I've looked at conversations and stuff with AI and I'm like, ooh. No, they don't have intuition, but a lot of stuff can come pretty close, I guess.
Hmm.
Um Hey Pam Frenchman, good to see ya. Um Hoosier says the down on your luck people are some of the most genuine. I
They
agree.
are. They
I
are.
agree. Um, yeah. So okay. So tell me a little bit. You sent me a lot of pages of stuff. And
Sorry to
I don't know
spam.
where you want to go with that.
Well, who knows? I don't know where I want to go with it. There's just a lot to talk about. You know.
Because remember, to those on the replay and those in the live chat, like this, we're talking music, but this goes to every creative thing. And I mean,
Hmm.
I've done some digital art because I love to paint. I've got pictures everywhere in the closets that I don't put out, but I've tried digital art. I I just don't like it as much. To me, it's harder.
Hmm.
The brush strokes and stuff, and there's so many brushes, and I'm just better at it with my hands. But even the old fashioned, and I call old fashioned digital art, it takes a lot of skill. So when you see something, if it's not AI, if it is just done digitally, I can't say this, digitally, don't mistake that for being the easy way out because it is not easy at all. That kind of art is takes a lot of skill and it's a whole different set of thinking. Um, but now AI creates all these images, and it's not just futuristic, lights and all this kind of stuff. It is recreating pictures that it looks like a photograph taken in the 1800s. It's insane.
Mm.
So I mean, I'm just saying, like it's coming for all of us, no matter what your profession, and especially if you're a creator.
Yeah. I had a friend. He went to a wedding over the weekend, and the photographer there. He was talking with him, and the photographer actually told him that he's been taking a lot of revenue loss because of AI. Like he said, AI is literally taking my job of illustration and my job of photo editing. People can take a picture on their
Mhm.
phone, use AI, and make it into the quality pictures I provide. And so it's already happening everywhere.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, because I love that's something I love all the arts, and that's something that I've played around with is photography. Knew I could
Hmm.
never make a living at it. It's very difficult. But I was talking to someone, and this was probably only about 5 or 6 years ago, and he was telling me about this program he had studied. He said, if you do it quick, you can complete this course in like 9 months. And he showed me all the editing and the lighting effects and some of the pictures that he had done. Absolutely beautiful. And it was learning all this software and then just a lot of things.
Hmm.
And it was expensive. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I can't, I don't have the time nor the money to do this. And I'm not going to sell it anyway. But I think about him and the thousands of hours and dollars that he just a few years ago invested in learning all this that can now be done with just a swipe in
Hmm.
AI.
Yeah.
And that's got to be heartbreaking for people.
It is. I mean, coming from my perspective, it is. Because I'm sitting, and somebody had said in the chat. Yeah, Nena Kring said that leaves physical manual labor jobs for people as AI for their overlords. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's like that is uh, truly the direction we're heading. I think what's his name, Neil Tyson. He said he says this, and I really like it. He says, "Why are we making AI that does the fun jobs whenever we could have them washing the dishes?" And he and it's true. It's like I don't want to wash
Yeah,
dishes. I want to sit at a piano, like. And
exactly.
I think that we're implementing AI in all the wrong areas first, But I mean,
Mhm.
if you're a small business owner and you need something quick for an ad campaign, why would you pay a lot of money to an illustrator or a photographer or whatever you need whenever you could go to a free website or even a low cost website, type in a prompt and have something usable in like 30-40 seconds?
Yeah.
Where's the incentive whenever you're low on capital anyway, or even whenever you have a lot of capital, like in Coca-Cola's situation? Because like Coca-Cola, they spend like $4 to $5 billion a year just on advertising, and if they
Wow.
can cut that down and get the same results, why wouldn't they? you know
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and I guess what you said, it makes a lot of sense because I showed the people in on my coffee talk yesterday morning this AI. She's an assistant slash girlfriend, whatever,
Mhm.
whatever. Um, but she walks around and does things. She looks not human, but getting there. Um, but they're saying, okay, 150,000, like you can buy this assistant companion, whatever, for $150,000. And my part, arguably over the lifetime of a relationship, you'll probably save money on that. But
Oh,
um
that's bleak. That's a bleak thing to say.
it is true though. Women can be expensive.
Oh.
Um, but the other part of that is, I'm sitting here thinking I'm not looking for a companion robot, but I'm like, $150,000. Could I get an ugly version? Like you don't have to be impressive looking, but if I just had someone to do my laundry, do the dishes, sweep the floor, make appointments for me, like, would it be worth $150,000 to me if I could afford it? If I could get a little bit lower, let's get a little bit lower on that price. I'm like, you know what? I think you're right. We did it backwards. We
Hmm.
should have had them do all the manual labor jobs that nobody wants to do. Um, and then leave the fun stuff for us. But oh no. Yeah, it's it's I mean, I'd be tempted. Um like maybe can you drop the price, drop the looks and all this kind of stuff. Just give me a basic workhorse for about 50,000. I'm thinking I might be
Yeah,
on
yeah.
board with that.
Yeah, I would. I would. I hate chores. I hate them.
Yeah, I do too. Let's see. For AI, my concern has been the fallout for creators who use AI now, and AI will later take them to court for back payment of stolen work. You know, okay, eh, look, that it sounds ridiculous, but I could see that happening.
Hmm.
I really, really could.
Well, it's a
Um,
clown world. Ridiculous things happen anyway, so I don't
yeah.
think it's far fetched.
I mean, so then you're in a court of law arguing, hey, but it was my prompt, buddy. You would never have come out with, I'm the creator. It was my prompt.
But see, AI is going to pull out literally the most obscure legal text, the most obscure legal text, and win because the AI judge agrees with it.
Yeah, exactly. Robot rules in favor of robot. Exactly. I'm gonna change up here for just a second because let me hide this one for just a second. This was horrifying to me. If I can, oh well, this is about Elon. And I'm just gonna play a second of this one. There is another thing that I found today. Um, that I was like, "Oh dear Lord." Um, I'm just saying, Elon is he's the guy, you know? He's the one with all the tech. He's the one, you think of him. I don't know. I kind of assumed that Elon would be all for AI,
Hmm.
but not exactly true. So I'm gonna let y'all listen to just a few things that he has to say. I can
I
get
think
this to
the
play.
danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
Far more dangerous than nukes.
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years.
The biggest issue I see with so-called AI experts is that they think they know more than they do. Um, and they think they're smarter than they actually are. This tends to plague smart people. They define themselves by their intelligence, and they don't like the idea that a machine could be way smarter than them, so they discount the idea, which is fundamentally flawed. That's the wishful thinking situation.
Okay, let's see. Let me play this one now. I think this is it.
ChatGPT today has an IQ of 155.
Yeah.
Einstein is 160. We're matching Einstein with a machine that I will tell you openly, AI experts are saying this is just the tip, the very, very, very top of the tip of the iceberg. ChatGPT 4 is 10x smarter than 3.5 in just a matter of months and without many, many changes. Now, that basically means ChatGPT 5 could be within a few months. If they continue at that pace, if it's 10x, then an IQ of 1600. Just imagine the difference between the IQ of the dumbest person on the planet in the 70s and the IQ of Einstein. When Einstein attempts to explain relativity, the typical response is, I have no idea what you're talking about, right? If something is 10x Einstein, we will have no idea what it's talking about. This is just around the corner. It could be a few months away. ChatGPT today
Okay.
has an IQ of 155.
So
Hmm.
let me did y'all catch that? This was horrifying to me. They're saying ChatGPT has an average IQ of 155, which is still way more than most people. And so, let me get your comments back up here. But it is so rapidly evolving that within a few months, and I think that's something that Elon says in another video, um, it could go to 100x, like literally in just a few months. So if you took somebody like Einstein with an IQ of 160, which let me just tell you that surprised me. I thought his would be higher than that, but and you go 10 times that, now you're talking to a robot, you're talking to an AI that has an IQ of 1600 in just a few minutes. So,
Hmm.
of course, his point is like they're going to explain things to you. You're not even going to understand it because they're so above. That's not even what bothers me. I mean, I can type the prompt in, talk to me like I'm stupid. We can work around that. But then you go, okay, so let's say 3-4 months, you get to 1600, add 5-6 months to that, now you are at another 100. So what is that, Tyler? Like, we're at 1600, so what is that, 16,000?
16,000, yeah. It's almost there with the average Reddit user. And you- um, but that's scary. That is a terrifying thought because I mean, what is it? Is it Roko's back basilisk? Is that what it is? Have you ever heard of that?
It seems like that's familiar, but I can't remember.
Well, if you haven't, then I'm about to doom everyone watching. So basically, like Roko's basilisk, the way it was described to me, like imagine an AI that's so powerful that is created to literally reduce human suffering as much as possible, or whatever it's created for, and it's a perfect AI. but it punishes people that didn't bring it into existence sooner. Like, say it comes into existence in 2030 and you knew about it now. Well, it knows everything. So it knows that you knew about it and didn't help it. So it punishes you. But if you didn't
Oh,
know
wow.
about it, it's a paradox that really contradicts itself, but it's an interesting thought experiment. But if you didn't know about it, then you're fine and you get the benefits. I thought that was an interesting thing. What do you think? What do you think about that?
That is horrifying. And that has always been my big concern with AI. And I mean, I know this is stupid, but I'm going back to the movie I, Robot.
Hmm.
When I saw that movie and everybody's like, "Oh, that's never going to happen." And I was sitting there thinking, it could happen. It could happen. So how are
Yeah.
we going to keep that from happening? And everybody's riding the AI train and the robots and everything else, and they're like, nobody's trying to stop it. And then that's kind of Musk is his theory, and his warning to everybody, like, look,
Hmm.
we've got to put the skids on this is because within just a few months, or let's say less than a year, AI is, in my opinion, if your um IQ level is that high, we cannot outsmart you. We
Hmm.
can't.
No, it's impossible. I
So
mean,
then what are we going to do?
I don't know. I really don't want to ever have to find out.
I
I
don't, I don't
think
either.
I think of that really popular scene. Was it Will Smith? He oh, there's a cat.
Yep, this is Sachi. She always says hello.
No.
Sachi's bottom. Say hello. Go ahead.
But I
My
think of
audience they're my chat people. They're used to it.
but I think of that really popular scene. He comes down and it's like one of these robots is defective, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just pull out a firearm and start shooting them." Like,
Yeah.
is that? I don't think that's going to work in a realistic scenario, but it's worth a
No.
try.
No, because they're going to anticipate that.
Hmm.
There are a lot of flaws with that movie in that you're not accounting for that kind of intelligence. So, yeah, they are going to absolutely be able to know, they're going to know human thought processes, and not just this, but think about, okay, I think they said, what is it, 50, it's more than 50 million, but it's so many millions, 50 something processes an AI can do at one time.
Hmm.
One time. So you just take an AI robot and versus man, and in a split second he can come up with 50 million scenarios of what that human is going to do and how to deflect every one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So you tell me how we're going to outsmart the AIs. We're not.
We can't. I mean, it's already very difficult. I mean, like you said, like the IQ is already what 155. It's right there with
Mhm.
Einstein, and I don't want to go into a Scholar Bowl situation with Einstein. I
No.
I'm not I'm not winning that one, and I don't think most people will. It's like even the people that created these AIs, they're really good at programming, but they've created something that I think could do better than them now, and I think they know that,
Mhm.
and yet they still continue to iterate on it because it's a cash cow. you know
Yes, it is. These brilliant minds, they're like, "Oh, well, let me create this. Let me create that with the robot." And yeah, until it really won't be very long that you're replaced and a robot can continue to
hmm
program and develop other robots. Like it's like people aren't thinking. They're not thinking this through. Let me see what chat is saying. Um, let's see. Uh
Give me just one moment. It actually looks like my camera battery's about to die.
Uh-oh.
I got her back up.
Okay, okay. Robin says, after watching your video of those AI robots, I'm now wondering if Elon is an AI robot. Look, I know. I had to, honestly, when I saw the first TikTok of him, I was like, is that really Elon or is this AI? But I went on to see so many more interviews and things that he's done, because that first one, it looked a little sus to me. I'm like, is this an AI opinion? I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but um flat Earth, all technology that we have access to has already been here before. So they say. I'm not saying it's not true. There is the scripture in the Bible, for those of you that know, there's nothing new under the sun. So if there is nothing new under the sun, then I would have to say, yeah, it probably has been here before. Big Fish, hello, hello. Yeah, not only an IQ of 155, but never fatigued, stressed, or any other human weakness. True. Then you don't have to have shifts. You can just have robots that do stuff. They work 24/7. I mean, we're obsolete already. Hey, Linda Kay. Good to see ya. There are ancient cities that mirror circuit boards. I've seen that. And have y'all been watching? I haven't seen it covered on mainstream news. I've seen it all over X, a lot of different sources. But have you seen the whole pyramid thing? That now they've been able to look under the earth and actually see those pyramids. They're just the top of some kind of apparatus. It looks like possibly an energy source or something, and it goes so far down into the earth. Like the pyramids, as big as they are, that's just like the cap. Okay. So yeah, what was here before? Crazy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. We're back. I didn't charge the primary battery.
Oh. See, a robot would have done that. They would have already known.
It would have. I need to get one.
My concern with AI is that there is no emotion or empathy. True. They're saying with these companions that you can train them to have human emotions, but look, it's scary. I don't want a robot. I don't want an assistant that has human emotions. I want you to just be able to do what I need for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And tell me a joke or sing me a song if I'm bored. But kind of no more actual thought than like Alexa or Siri. Okay. Just not a whole lot. Just but that's the thing. People always push it too far. Okay, so what now? Then what happened? As you're going down this AI rabbit hole, and you're looking at things like what happened next? Like,
well, so after this guy is like, look at all this work I've done, and then he didn't do any of the work. I started really looking into like copyright law when it comes to AI. I started looking into like the logistics of creating like a studio that's 100% AI free, and that marking that as a selling point, which, with the way things are going, that's not really a selling point. Like literally every product in the tech aisle, every product anywhere enhanced by AI. Like we just bought a camera for the office for like office meetings, and they wouldn't buy one that didn't say enhanced with AI technology,
wow.
And it's incredible, really. It won't do the dishes, but it'll rotate by itself. So that's a pretty close second,
but, I'll turn you around, do the dishes.
But copyright law, the U.S. Copyright Office has been very clear about it. If it's not made by a human, there's no copyright. If it's AI generated 100%, it's not copywritten. Now, I don't know where that gray area is, where it's source material that you edit.
Yeah.
If it becomes copywritten, then maybe that's something to look into. I didn't go that far into it, I guess, but they rule basically, if it's AI generated, if it's not created by a human specifically, then it is not able to be copywritten. And there was like a photographer who had who set up a camera, and a monkey took a picture with it, and he wasn't allowed to copyright the picture because he didn't take it.
Wow. So there's a millionaire monkey out there somewhere.
Yeah, he's doing better than me.
it is scary. And I mean, because right now the things which I use, I don't know if you ever use Canva for anything.
Mhm.
But that's something that I pay for every month. But I use it mostly for my thumbnails, my YouTube
Mhm.
thumbnails on both channels. And but I didn't realize this because there were some things I wanted to put on a t-shirt, even just my logo, whatever. And if you use elements from Canva, you have to change them if you're going to resell. Because, like, I can't just take an element from Canva, even if it's just like a graphic of a fish. No
Mhm.
words, no nothing. Just put a fish on a t-shirt and sell it. No, you can't do that. Everything that Canva does, and now Canva has AI. It's not very good in my opinion. It kind of sucks. Um, but any image or stuff, um, you have to tweak it and make it your own before you can resell it. And then it's got to be changed enough. Like, there's rules about this. But when you're talking AI, I've seen some AI t-shirts. Like, I know their AI is a great design. I've seen,
Mhm.
different shops as I'm looking around at stuff. Um, Absolutely brilliant design, brilliant graphics. Obviously could only have been done by AI. It just has that look. Um, but that being said, yeah, where does the line come from? And if you're going to use AI to make products, but you can't hold a copyright on it, can you even sell them? Like, is it even beneficial for us if we can't make money with it?
I don't know. I mean, I think that clearly there's got to be some sort of line there where it does become your original material. And I think back to the Coca-Cola ad, they probably wouldn't have aired it if if they couldn't have copywritten it. Though I mean, they could copyright the
Yeah.
song and the assets, the intellectual property, but maybe not the actual video itself. Um, but I think that even if you can't make money directly from it, cutting costs will do the same thing for you. And I think that's where you're going to see a lot of big entities
Mm.
start using it. It's just to cut costs, and like even to that, like I use Adobe Express for a lot of my things. Like I'm guilty. I'm going to admit this publicly. A couple of years ago would use AI to make a source material for album covers because it was so easy and it was so cheap, and I
Mhm.
am remiss about that. In fact, I'm actually started updating all of those old ones, and I'm working my way through with stuff that I make because I'm not reasonably. I can't pay an illustrator right now, though I will as soon as I'm able. But I've been making my own and trying to and going that direction because I think it's disgusting, and it's like I fell victim to it because of clever
Mhm.
marketing and not anything to do with me. It at all. It was clever marketing, 100%. Uh,
Yeah. And when you're on a time constraint, let's say somebody throws a project at you, or you even realize you need to get some kind of content out on a subject, and you don't have 10 hours to research or 10
mhm,
hours to do this and that. Um, People don't realize, I didn't realize until I started doing videos. I mean, there's a lot to setting up a live stream, but in comparison to a video, nothing.
mhm,
Once you get your basic stuff done, you can reuse it over and over, like the background that you see here. Yeah, it might have taken me a while, but I use it for everything. So it was a one-time creation. But when you're talking about, okay, I've got to get some information. I've got to get so I'm that's the first thing I'm doing is going to sources that can give me that research that I'm not going to have to just the old fashioned way Google it,
mhm,
right? I'm not going to Google and say, "Hey," and it's going to shove, 10,000 articles or images or, references to this thing, and I have to go through all of them to find what I'm looking for. Like, so yeah, in that respect, I'm fell victim to that. And I mean, so I'm like, yeah, it is AI saving me tons of time. Um, even just shooting a regular video, and I do use AI for some of it,
Hmm.
especially transcription, um, and cutting out certain things that makes it so where I'd spend if I do a 25-minute video, I would probably spend about 20 hours the
Hmm.
old-fashioned way, clipping that down, redoing it, everything, and now maybe I can do it in 6 hours.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
lot of time.
it
That
is.
is a lot of time.
It is. I think back, I had a project for a client. It was going on Alabama public television. Needed to be like a really specific time, but it was around that 30-minute mark. And filming, acquiring B-roll, annotating, translation, color grading, everything. I put around 180 hours into it.
Mhm,
And even just with the most recent Adobe update to their Creative Cloud stuff, their Premiere Pro, like
mhm,
I could have saved probably 90 hours of that. I could have cut the time in half because now they have text-based editing, which it's like you create a transcript, you can put the captions in automatically, and then if you use text-based editing, you can type the parts you want to go to. It takes you there, and then you can
mhm.
create cuts automatically. And now they have a new generative using Adobe Firefly, which is a really powerful tool and a really fun tool to use, um, where if you have b-roll that you need to be just a little bit longer, you can just stretch it out and it will generate what you need instantly.
Yeah, well, I came across that when uh hold on, I got fuzzy. I don't know, sometimes my camera goes out of focus. Um, a couple months ago when TikTok got banned, I did not realize that the same people that own TikTok owns CapCut. And
Hmm.
so they banned CapCut. I was right in the middle of I had to edit a video and have it out like in 2 days. And I'm working and all this kind of stuff and I'm like, "Oh my god." Um I looked at I downloaded so many trials and so many I looked at Adobe, I looked at Firefly, and then the whole gamut. I had so much crap on my computer. The and the one number one thing I saw is that I'm gonna this is a whole new education. Each one of these programs is gonna take a lot of time for me to learn.
Hmm.
Secondly, after looking at everything, there are just certain elements of CapCut that I use that no other one has. So I put out some really crap videos on my other channel for about a week until CapCut. I got a VPN. I said I was in Canada. I had to pay an extra subscription just so I could use CapCut. And then they're like, "Oh, okay, it's back." I'm like, "Okay, well, thank God." But yeah, even in that one is so much more. I think it's me. I think I'm hitting something. That one was so much more. It's so much more simple than Adobe and stuff,
Hmm.
but yet I cannot do a video without using CapCut. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put a while I am trying to get the lights back on. Um, yeah, some of y'all are saying stuff about that they can flex their muscles. They have some of these AI robots have facial like stuff.
Hmm.
Oh, I missed that. Well, Linda Kay, if you see the um replay, happy birthday.
Oh,
I wish
happy
I had
birthday.
known. Yeah, Linda Kay has been with me for a long, long time. She's precious. Um Let me find a good comment for you to answer.
Well,
While
there
I'm
was one that asked, I saw this right before it went off my screen. It was something like, what's the end goal, or something like that. And
okay.
I think it was like, what's the end goal of AI? And I think that is a very good question. um,
Yeah, so okay, answer that one while I get back on
Okay, well,
screen.
what is the end goal of AI? I don't know that it has an end goal right now. I really think that right now it's a bunch of tech companies that are trying their best to be the top of a very lucrative market. I don't think that there's a final. It's like the iPhone. I don't think there's a final goal for the iPhone. They're just going to keep releasing it every year with new features. You know, And I think that's what's going to happen with AI for now. You know, maybe we get to a point where AI is at 17, 1800 IQ and it sets an end goal for itself and starts working on itself. You know, it's like I saw an image once, and Flat Earth Effect might appreciate this one. I don't have it with me, but it was like humans perfect AI, AI perfects itself, AI employs humans, solar flare wipes out AI, and then humans basically start over. You know, maybe that's what happens. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and doom post on something that I really don't have the credibility to do. You know, I think it's fun to speculate, but you know, there are some really hard hitting things right now that's actually happening that is terrifying, because if it continues by 2030, you know, we're looking at a lot of jobs lost, we're looking at a lot of human creativity replaced, and I think that's terrible because the world is already pretty gray. I mean, have you seen what happened to McDonald's? Like, it used to be red and vibrant and fun to look at. You know, it's like I wanted to slide and I was overweight. You know, still now. It's like now it's just an office building that you get subpar burgers in. You know, and they're
Yeah.
cheap, so I eat them. But I mean, the world is already gray, so why
It
why?
is. I honestly, and this is not about AI, but what about 10 plus years ago when the all of the decorating things became gray and white,
Mhm.
like and it still is a lot of times when you see, you know, empty houses, all the walls are gray of some shade and all of the trim is white, and you have the simple signs saying things like eat,
Mhm.
laugh. I'm like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'll eat when I want to eat. Don't tell me to laugh. What if I don't feel like laugh? I don't like these signs. I hate these signs.
That's the live, laugh, love thing. I can't.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Don't tell me that.
I don't feel welcome in this house. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You know?
Or gather. What if I don't want to
Gather.
gather? What if I want to stay in my room? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's a good way of thinking about it.
Well, I'm just a little rebellious. But honestly, Tyler, my thought during that time was, and look, aesthetically speaking, you know, these rooms are beautiful. Okay, it looks so
Mhm.
clean, it looks so crisp, and that is uh, somewhat inviting. Okay, just the cleanliness of it. But what I thought is, like, if we have gray walls everywhere, like, what's the difference in that in prison? You know?
It's not. I mean, I worked at a office, and you know, it was soul crushing. I still work at an office, but this one's much better because I have a window. Uh, but like, I would go
The
in every
soul
day.
is only crushed this much.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot better, you know. And I get to well, the window, it doesn't look outside; it looks into the lobby, so I can see people coming in. But you know, it's an improvement. Uh, but this office, like, I mean, it was dull. It was like uh, just gray, fluorescent lights. One of the bulbs would blink. You know, like your typical horror story, like uh situation. But I brought in a painting. I'm like, I'm gonna put this painting up, I'm gonna make it brighter in here. And I put the painting up and I turn around and look at it one day. I'm like, because it did nothing for the room, because the painting itself was in gray tones.
Oh.
And I'm like, and then I started getting depressed. I'm like, I want to be outside.
Mhm.
I want to go outside. And then I would look on the monitor I had up here that showed the outside, you know, through a camera, then 480p stretched to a 1080p monitor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at that. I bet those people are having fun. You know.
Oh my gosh. I used to, when I worked in the city years ago, I was in one of those big buildings. I would just go, I didn't even have a window, but I'd go stand in somebody's office and look down at the street, and I would just be seeing people, and I'd be like, I wonder where they're going. Look, they're free. I mean, they really weren't free, but I'm like, look at, they're
Hmm.
outside, they're free, they're running around. I want to be outside and running around. I want to be free. Um, and that's kind of the way, you know, this whole thing makes me feel. Can you
Mhm.
imagine a robot telling me what to do? Like, I get upset with signs telling me what to do. Don't you?
Yeah.
No, I can't do a robot boss. No.
No, I have trouble with bosses in general. It's like I don't mind taking correction and I don't mind taking direction, but make sure you point me in the right one, you know? like
Yeah,
like
exactly. Um, okay, so that was kind of like a rabbit hole. But all right, so what do we do as artists, as creators? What do we do? Is there anything we can do about this?
keep it as human and as real as possible because what is the purpose of art? Why do humans create art? I would argue that it's a reflection of their viewpoint of culture, of society. It's a reflection of their viewpoint of their own inner turmoil, of their own triumphs, of their own victories. It's like it's emotion expressed in a way
Hmm.
that words cannot define. That's a good way of thinking about it. And AI does not have that concept. It takes our emotions, turns them into data points, and reproduces something similar to our emotions.
Yeah.
And this is the question. This is the question right here. What happens when it gets so good at recreating our emotions, even though it had no emotion in it, that it's indistinguishable from the real thing? What is the value of feeling something then?
That is what is terrifying to me is how human can AI go.
Mhm.
Um, there are a lot of, and I don't know if you've seen this. I said this yesterday, but there are programs out there now that, like, I can do a sampling. Okay, I can record a however many minute or second video of myself, like kind of how my mannerisms, the cadence of how I speak, and feed that to AI. I can also do a voice sampling, read off some stuff and with my own inflections. That AI can turn around, and so now I'm a whole sample.
Mhm.
And then all I do is I feed it a script that I probably got off Chat GPT and said, "Hey, write this in a, sarcastic manner or whatever." And I literally just copy and paste, put that and say, "Okay, make a video of me talking about this subject,
Mhm.
saying this." So there's a whole video. Okay, now I have about 10 minutes of time that I have put into this video. And my question is, like, I think based on some things I've seen, a lot of people wouldn't know it wasn't me. Um, Which is scary because
Mhm.
then, they've got out there in cyberspace, they can copy me anyway. What can they do? Can they, hypothetically, they could create a video of you committing a crime.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. And China, they've launched Skynet, but they said this is the good Skynet. What a novel idea. But it's basically a series of camera systems that use facial recognition AI,
Right.
and they detect if you're jaywalking, if you're doing all this sort of stuff, and they add to, subtract from your social credit and give you fines and that sort of thing. They're what a concept. But what happens whenever some bad natured person gets a hold of some of this footage and trains an AI to, which we already have the technology anyway. You don't even need to train an AI. You could just say, make this person look like he's jaywalking. We'll say that's the worst crime you can possibly commit. You know,
Mhm.
like, then what? Because it's really hard to disprove video evidence in a court of law. I saw one person. He has an attachment that he like puts on his finger, and it's a sixth finger. And he's like, so if I ever go out and somebody records me, I can say that was AI generated.
That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, Kernoodles. Good to see you, by the way. And I don't know if I said hello to you, Ninja Warrior Assassin. I saw you all ago, but um, good to see you. So glad you're here. Hope you're feeling good. Um, let's see, and then let's see. Um, I think AI will be illegal after the first wave of AI trying to destroy on a large scale, if there are any humans left.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Um. Oh, look who is in the comments. It is Brain Bungler. Hey,
Oh my
Bungler.
goodness. Bungler.
Yeah. Wish
I have
Bungler
no
would come back on here and do a show with me about literally anything. See you lurking though. At what point will rulings be made to discredit video evidence as plausible?
Mm.
Well, my question is, are they going to be able to tell? Or, because like right now, we can tell by metadata, right? But as in the case that I cover so heavily, Delphi, a lot of that metadata has been changed.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we're talking about an AI robot of uh, an IQ of 1600, like we talked about earlier. So, is there a way you can't be saved with metadata now? Could AI not just completely eradicate that video evidence? Couldn't I mean I wouldn't they just do it and make it real?
Well, I mean, it's you can edit metadata as it is, and like I think that well, I mean, that's a very good question. At what point does
Yeah.
video become inadmissible? And I think I think that point is whenever video is indistinguishable from the real thing. And I mean like indistinguishable all the way down to the metadata. It's like, why would you accept that? It would be the same as hearsay at some point.
Mhm.
It's like if somebody can literally show me doing whatever the heck they want me to be doing, why should that be acceptable as evidence? And I think that's a really open-ended question because until it happens, I don't think we'll know. I don't think there is a case out there where AI generated footage has been used as evidence and found out.
No, but I mean, no, not that I know of. Well, actually, it's not conclusive, but yeah, it actually does come up in the Delphi case,
Oh, really?
and I learned a word called interpolated, which I didn't had never heard that before. But basically, they took a little speck of a person, and brought him way forward, and AI interpolated what his facial features were, and so now they're saying it's this guy. You can see,
Mm.
which to me you can't tell on the video. It's ridiculous, but it's like, so now this guy was convicted and you're saying he's this guy on the bridge? But this is AI. Don't you remember what they said in court? This is an interpolation.
Hmm.
But now this guy's sentenced to 130 years.
Wow. Off of that, like, court, they said, court, can we please zoom and enhance that photo? And and then 130 years, like, I don't
Mhm.
know, that's kind of ridiculous, that's inconclusive. I
Exactly.
don't think AI is near that level, and our cameras certainly aren't. Like that's insane.
It is. And like this is why I'm so up to my neck in this case. But yeah, even and this is even some years ago when um AI, as far as we knew, wasn't as advanced as it is now. They
Hmm.
went to NASA and Disney and all this kind of stuff trying to make this interpolation. Um, so yeah, in that respect, this might be one of the earliest cases of AI interference in a case.
Hmm.
There's so much more to it, but anyway, I feel like if you're smart enough to make a video good enough that nobody can tell it's AI, then you're also smart enough to hide it in the metadata or the whole thing, the whole creation.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I see AI being smart enough to cover its own tracks.
Yeah,
Because
and it
why wouldn't
probably
it?
already is. It probably is already at that point, but it's not learned to do it yet. And I had come I let me start over. So I was at work today researching this. Is a very slow day at work. Um, and I had a thought, like just a passing thought. It's like, humans, we've taken thousands and thousands of years to be where we are in our understanding, and the average human doesn't even know a percent of it, of our
Yeah.
collective wealth of knowledge. And AI has popped into existence with access to it all and a mastery of it all, and now it's just simply training and learning, and over like 5-6 years now, it's already to the level of humans in thousands of years. and
Right.
and it's like, well, you put that on a line graph and see what happens. That's a terrible thing to think about.
Exactly. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe my job won't be obsolete for a while because, maybe I'll retire first. Like, we could be talking about 6 months, um, if they could afford it. Let me go back here. Oh, Rebby Lee, thank you. Starting a bungler fund. Hey, Rebby Lee, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, see, bungler, you need to be up here. Uh, yeah. Uh, We actually, when we did it a lot on Silky Southern, then we moved to Humanetics. Ugh. We talked a lot about stuff like this, but I'm thinking about even the information that I had and that we talked about last fall is almost obsolete in April of 2025
Hmm. Hmm.
because the advances in AI that I have seen alone are insane. Insane. Um, Ninja Warrior, I agree. I love the real thing when it comes to pictures and stuff. I guess what I have um noticed though with some of these, it's not, like I said, it's not digital pictures like you can digital created pictures like you can tell it's AI. When I tell you that there are very realistic nature pictures out there that
Hmm.
AI can do, you literally cannot tell. And I mean, yeah, I think it does lose soul, but I don't know. Can AI generate that too?
Well,
Who
I don't think
knows?
it can generate the emotion behind a picture, but I think it can get pretty darn close already. And I think at some point, very, very soon, it's going to be indistinguishable from the real thing.
Yeah, I do too. Hello, Joey. Good to see ya. Um, oh, very real photos you can hold in your hand. Yeah, but again, mm, it's like you can't even. I was listening to somebody I really liked the other day saying that he cannot sit down and read a book. It's just
Mm.
impossible to sit down and read a book. And I'm like, oh, that's horrible. I hope I never get to that point. I love to hold books. Um, I love to scratch notes on paper, but that okay. So now, what is? Let me keep going further though, because you have started what you call the Hudgins Project.
Right, right.
So tell me, what is that?
Well, it's not off the ground yet, but I'm working on it. Got together a whole plan. I basically want to create something for artists, like create a network of artists, of musicians, of what have you, writers, and it be 100% AI free. I just want to create a space for people that can do what they love without fear of losing it. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have a network, you have, what is it, your network is your net worth. I think that's a
Yeah.
silly thing, but I think it also has some resemblance of truth. But I want to, starting out, as like the first phase, I want artists that maybe don't have access to equipment, or maybe don't have access to the ability to purchase studio time, or an illustrator for album work or what have you, um, be able to come to me, and I can get that to get that all to them, uh, at a level that they can afford, possibly even free, if that's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And it all be 100% AI free. like having like somebody has written a great song and they can only record it on their phone. It's fine, send me the voice clips. With what we have now in technology and plugins and all sorts of things, we can make that sound as close to a studio as possible and get something turned over pretty quick. And we can do it all without AI. Though, I can't think of any AIs off the top of my mind that would clean up audio that way, at least none that's cheap or
Mm-hmm.
accessible. But the idea is that never gets used, and that's the whole thing. Because I am honestly terrified of the projection of things. I'm honestly terrified for the future of creativity, because I
Mm-hmm.
do not do well in boxes.
Me either.
I just, especially when they don't have a window. I'm not. I can't do that. I refuse to live in a world that is dictated by an overwhelming tolerance of unsound logic, of things that are beyond us. It's like ants should fear people walking on the sidewalk, but they don't. They don't even know they're there, because we don't bother ants typically. What happens when AI gets to that point?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it already has.
So you're able. This kind of amazes me. So you are able to clean up stuff, like even a phone recording, without AI.
Within reason. If it's just like, if it sounds like you recorded it while you were holding your phone in the bathtub or something, like if you're holding your phone or microphone underwater, that's going to be a bit tough. But I mean, usually you can. And especially with like a modern phone, modern
Mm-hmm.
phones have really great microphones, especially like not on a call, because that's outdated, really.
Right.
But like, voice recordings, they
Mm-hmm.
have really good quality.
They
And
do.
just a small amount of EQing and manipulation could really bring it alive.
Hmm. Um. I mean, I think that is not just a noble project, but I feel like it is something that people are going to start to crave. Like right now, so many people are jumping on, and admittedly, so have we,
Hmm.
jumping on the AI bandwagon for productivity,
Yeah.
and just kind of seeing, um, with prompts, what kind of picture can I create?
Hmm.
So, but it's a novelty. It is a novelty, and I feel like it will wear off, because I keep hearing, even just following people who are talk about YouTube and different platforms, how there is so much content that is AI generated, and a lot of it gets tons of views. But they say the current trend, they're starting to see people look at things that are more, um, not professional. Okay,
Hmm.
just somebody sitting on his porch, you know, with the phone in his hand recording, one camera, no cuts, just somebody talking about something, you know, whatever topic, subject they want. And that the authenticity is something that's very appealing, and it's starting to be appealing. And I
Hmm.
can see like two groups of people. One, you're all in on AI. Absolutely. Let's do everything. Let's make as much money as we can. Let's do as much AI content. Let's see where this goes. And then people already saying, hey, you know what? I don't like this. I want to see a real person.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I feel like, that you're on the right track, um, because people are going to want to hear real, even mistakes in vocals and stuff. Little things that are not perfect often is what gives, in my opinion, the soul to some lyrics and songs and stuff.
Hmm.
I don't mean like way off key, but
Yeah. Yeah.
little imperfections, in a voice can make a big difference.
It can.
Um,
It can. Let's see. Nina Kring said, Tyler, in that scenario, how can you guarantee that AI would not steal the work and use it for itself? And you can't. You can't. It already does. It already does. And I actually, that brings up a very interesting thing, something I'd found um, "Heart on My Sleeve," Drake and The Weeknd. It was written by a TikTok user. His name was Ghostwriter977. He wrote the song, he performed the song, but then he used AI to make it sound like Drake and The Weeknd had released a song, and it blew up millions and millions of streams across different videos, hundreds of thousands on Spotify. It did well, and UMG Universal Music Group uh, were very quick to send takedown notices to all these platforms there, and I actually have the quote that they had wrote. This is what they said, and I think this is more pandering. It's like, look at us, we're on a moral high ground, but also I think that if they can stick to this, it's a good thing. They said in response to that, the training of generative AI using our artists' music, which represents both a breach of our agreements and a violation of copyright law, as well as the availability of infringing content created with generative AI on digital service providers, begs the question as to which side of history stakeholders in the music ecosystem want to be on. The side of artists, fans, and human creative expression, or on the side of deepfakes, fraud, and denying artists their due compensation.
I'm going to say this. I think people are fickle.
Mhm.
Um, I don't, and I hate to say this, but I feel like, I mean, listen to the music. And I base this on a conversation that I had with my daughter. So we're listening to, we both have playlists on Spotify that span generations and genres of music.
Mhm.
And I actually had my playlist up, and the songs were very familiar to her as well. And she finally looks at me and she says, "Why don't they make music like this anymore?" And I said, "I don't know,
Mhm.
because it's so distinctive, especially music really from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Well, even 40s. But you know what I'm saying? It's very distinctive. And then when you get
Mhm.
we were listening to like softer rock, and she's like, they just like all of these songs have so much feeling and they're different. They don't sound alike. I'm like, I know, because right about in the 90s, I just stopped.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm done with you. Not to say that there aren't some breakout songs and artists that I like, but uh, for the most part, it's been soulless, in my
Yeah,
opinion, for a long time.
it truly has. It truly
Um,
has.
so I mean, but then okay, so we're saying the music was so much better back in these decades, but yet people are making billions of dollars listening to crap now because people buy it and
Mhm.
they listen to it. I'm like, are they just selling out, or they just don't know what it's supposed to sound like? I don't know. Hello, Samantha. Good to see you. Let me highlight this from Brain Bungler. I think personally, if AI is used as a tool, it can elevate human capability beyond normal means. Unfortunately, people are using AI as the product, not the tool. True,
Yeah.
true. That's why I try to keep my stuff. I mean, would it be great to just, to a video that looks and sounds like me and I didn't have to do any work? Sure, that's tempting. Um, but yeah, I'm using AI as, you know, the tool. Let
Mhm.
me make it a little bit faster. I'm still gonna have to work hard, but not as hard. Um,
Yeah. I mean, that goes back to the screwdriver thing as well, like how
yeah,
much easier is it to undo a screw with a screwdriver? Um, you know,
yeah. Let me let me go back to this because you let's look at this. Explain what this is.
okay, so this is a representation of your ad campaign team. Like Coca-Cola, for example. I've really been hung up on this Coca-Cola ad thing, and I sent you a link to it if we want to show that here in a minute. Um,
Um, let's see.
but so basically, in your typical ad campaign, like your team is going to consist of creative directors, script writers, copywriters, storyboard artists, concept artists and illustrators, photographers, videographers, lighting, set design, actors, voice actors, music composers, sound designers, video editors, visual effects artists, marketing analysts, and the list goes on. And the average size of a team like that is going to be 25 to 30 people. But for a big corporation like Walmart, Coca-Cola, you name it, it could be 100, up to 100 or hundreds, or however many. It's like, because that doesn't even take into consideration the talent, that doesn't even take into consideration the props, the prop makers, all that sort of thing. Uh, so it could be a lot of people on a team, and the average team, what's highlighted here, is about 25 for your average marketing campaign, and the beefiest team is all of
Yeah.
the rest of them here. Um, but what we're seeing, AI already can reasonably replace writers. It can easily replace arts and visuals, and we've seen that. It can easily, with 11 labs, you can easily do voiceovers. I have a friend, he's a great producer, video editor, and he wanted to try a project where he created like a documentary style video about Earth using AI and stock footage. And well, that's what he did, and it's convincing. You couldn't convince me it's not BBC. It can already do music, it can already do editing, and there's a lot more I'm sure that it could do. But I mean, we're already looking at like an 80% decrease in necessary roles just because of AI.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's terrifying to me. That's a scary thing.
It is, but I'll tell you, from somebody who used to have to do a budget for the corporation, if you're talking about strictly numbers, if I can cut, salaries by a large percentage, who
Mhm.
who is not going to do that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it works, who really cares? Like, eh, truly, like, if it's convincing enough and it gets the point across, who really cares? Other than the people that are affected most by it,
Yeah.
like, and even then, what does that matter? What does that matter when the money's involved?
Um what do you think about this? Let me find this comment. Um what Nina is saying, people are programmed to buy it. Do you think that's true?
I think that we're in we're in a society. And that's all. No, we're in a society that prioritizes consumerism.
Mhm.
We have to buy, and that goes back to the man from Egypt that I was talking about. Like, that was a
Yeah.
foreign concept to him. They didn't buy. They didn't buy to live. They survived and were very focused on their family, and on that kind of thing. They didn't really He didn't really have this concept, this learned and taught concept of purchasing things, and outside of food and whatnot. Like,
Mhm.
I think that in a consumerism and a capitalistic society, that we are programmed to buy things, and it's very obvious. I've studied marketing before, and I've done marketing before, and there's a lot of science to exactly what you need to show people to get them to do the things you want them to do.
Oh, okay. I see you sent me this link. I'm gonna let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up. I might get a copyright strike. So what I'm gonna do, um, I'm gonna show just a few seconds of it, probably, because it's Coke. I will get struck for that.
I
um,
understand.
let's see. Let me go back. Let's share this one. Well, why is it not doing it? Okay, let's see. Let me change the dimensions of this real quick. All right. I may just start and stop. So you're saying all of this is AI generated?
The visuals, the animals, the people, AI generate the music done the old fashioned way. And I'm
Let me
sure.
I'm going to turn the volume off. That'll get
Okay.
me first. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at some of the. Okay. If there's no music on here, I might. Okay. Now that looks AI,
Yeah.
but that does not.
But I mean,
That
pay attention
does.
here to the wheels. They really do not look good.
But you said this was 2023.
Mm-hmm. But that was made and released on as an international campaign 2 years ago.
And you can even see, I mean, yeah, it looks AI, but you can even see the AI that we have now, how much in 2 short years it has progressed.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane. Now, see, that first, I'm going to go back to that first picture because I'm assuming now once you get it gets in there, I can see the AI. But this, if it starts a commercial like this, I think this is real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks like an old-fashioned Coke. Do y'all remember? I know people in the chat remember when you used to have to open your bottles this way. I mean, it did look a little AI there. This is getting pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, I'm saying based on what we already know of how AI progresses and the intelligence every few months, it is a whole nother layer. And like I said, even from, I think we were doing humanetics back in like September, AI generated stuff that I looked at then and now completely different. That reminds me though, let me pull, because I showed this one the other day. Let me go back to my videos that I saved on TikTok okay, let's look at this one. Am I sharing this? Okay.
This is going to scare you, but it's
Yeah.
important that you know about it. Behind me, this woman that is talking, she is entirely AI generated. And not just AI generated, she is generated from an image of a real person. And furthermore, this video, she is actually talking out loud in it. Let me show you it.
Here's the thing. When we say no to something, we're saying yes to something else, but that involves a lot of unknown.
I really love artificial intelligence. I talk about it all the time. I talk about all the many beneficial ways you can use it in your life. Personally, I see no beneficial, real ethical way this can be used by the majority of people using it. Just because the tech is around right now does not mean we should make these things, especially in a year when there are elections happening around the world.
Okay. And there are still a few things when I look at that, I'm like, could be better here, could be better there, but exponentially better than it was last fall when I looked at AI generated humans. So yeah, by the end of the year, what are we going to be looking at? And by next year, can we even tell? It's horrifying to me. Because the AI woman, she had the pauses, the stops, the head turns that looked normal. Yeah, it's getting scary. It's getting really scary. Let me see what y'all are saying. Samantha says, the music industry itself has become master and artists are slaves, not creators. That's true. I've heard that from so many, I don't know if you'd call them testimonies, whatever, of people in the industry, even not having to do with AI. I mean, they create what they're told to create, even now.
Mm-hmm.
And which I think is why Spotify and other platforms like that have independent artists, some artists have been successful, but at least it's a way to get some of your music out there without being told what to write and what to sing about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. True. This is true. AI provides a means for some artists to demonstrate their creativity in music without the need of producers. Yeah, there's another job gone.
Yeah, I know there's all sorts of mastering tools, mixing tools that very, very affordable for the average user. And it's like mixing and mastering, that's one of the biggest parts of producing. It's one of the hardest parts too, and that's why it's such a sought after skill. And now there's several tools you can use, like BandLab's mastering. It's free, unlimited, and it's free. All you got to do is sign up.
Yeah, I agree, Joey. The problem is that humans will use it the wrong way, just like they do everything. Yeah, you can look at our history and see that we have messed up. Humans have messed up every single thing that we've ever done. Um, Improved some things absolutely, but ended up messing it up in the end. Yeah, you can see that in Genesis. Um, do you see anything, Tyler, that uh you want to comment on?
Um, I've been tracking this conversation between Brain Bungler and others. It's
Yeah,
it's quite an interesting dialogue. If only he would do shows with you again.
I
You
know,
know, yeah.
right?
What's that about? We need more. We need more people to support that Bungler fund.
Um, hey, give me a thumbs up if you want to give Bungler a thumbs up. If you want to see him talking in here, yeah, it's always a good time when Bungler's in here. Sometimes it's the rabbit hole goes so deep,
Hmm.
um, but it's always a good time. Let's see. Um, so let me ask you because I'm just curious about the guy that did all of the AI album and brought it to you and said, I want you to do this. What is he still doing that? Like, what happened with him?
I don't know. It wasn't too long after that, and this wasn't the reason, but the church kind of closed, and I haven't really talked to him since. He's not reached out to me, and I haven't reached out to him. It's just a connection that fell through.
Yeah.
No bad blood, but he, from what I know, he went on. He promoted it. Uh, he promoted it. He made merch, and I don't know what the numbers look like on that, but he did end up releasing it and selling it out there under some moniker. And
Wow.
I there's actually a lot of really shady labels that are making 100% AI music and releasing it on Spotify and such for royalty farms. Basically, it's like a modern day Bitcoin. It's like, and that's why we see so many AIs, because it's a gold rush, and they're selling the pickaxe.
Yeah. Well, on one hand, you're like, well, I'd like to make $1. But
Yeah.
are people going to listen to this and buy it? I mean, they're listening to crap now. In my
Hmm.
opinion, I don't like modern music. You know, like I said, except with the exception of a few artists and songs here and there, I think most of it's crap now. Is it any worse crap to be AI? Or I don't know.
I mean, I think that slop is slop. It doesn't matter how low effort it is or how high effort it is. If it's low quality, it's low quality. And
Yeah.
maybe that's where AI will end in the arts. Maybe it just ends with it all being low quality. But I don't think that's the case, because it's already fairly high quality.
Yeah, unfortunately. Oh wow, look at Bungler over here. Um we've got Rebby Lee, more Bungler. More to the Bungler fund. Look at all these thumbs up. Look at all these. Robin, another donation to the Bungler fund. Awesome. He's going to have to come on now.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going to have to. Um
Buckeye said, "I'm so low tech, I don't even know how to find the thumbs up."
Oh, that's okay, Buckeye. You see me in here making all kind of mistakes, too. I'm not that tech savvy. Um, it takes all my brain cells to run a program and talk and do a live. That's the extent of it. This is my tech ability right here, and you see, such as it is. um, Watch, in a couple of years, it'll be told that the village people were AI robots, and it'll all
Mm.
make sense.
That would put a lot of puzzle pieces together.
It would. You know what? I can't, but I can't help it. It's just the YMCA. It comes on. That's one of those songs. I challenge you. Who can listen to YMCA and not do the motions?
Well, it
I'm
was
not one of those
instilled into
people.
everybody. It was instilled into you go to any event, even still, they're still doing it.
Mhm.
What a cultural thing that is.
Yeah. It would be sad to see AI take over that kind of stuff. I mean, do you think there's anything that we can do about it or to try to prevent it, or are we just going to have to see it through and wait till people get to the end of the road on AI?
It's another iPhone. We're just gonna have to see it through until eventually we start getting fold phones again. We're gonna reinvent the landline.
Yeah.
However that might look like. I don't think there's any way to stop it at this point. That Elon Musk video we had showed earlier. If he can't do anything about it, I certainly can't. I can just do what I can to give an outlet for those. Well, there I go. I could just do what I can to give an outlet
Yeah.
for those people that don't want to use that sort of thing. And there's all sorts of cases about it too. All sorts, and it's popping up everywhere. It's not just in music. It's not just in art. Like it's in stuff like voice acting, like Scarlett Johansson. There
Mhm.
was a case. OpenAI tried to hire Scarlett Johansson to be a voice for ChatGPT, and she refused. And they went
Hmm.
ahead and made the Sky voice, which is a preset you can use for GPT, and it sounds strikingly like Scarlett Johansson. Like it sounds almost exactly like her. And what's more, it sounds like her performance from the movie, I think 2013, the movie
Wow.
Her, which was about a man falling in love with a artificial intelligence. But it sounds a lot like her from that, and she's actually sued them um, over that, but they're denying all allegations. I didn't really find anything more on that paper trail, but I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
And then 11 Labs, I had mentioned it earlier. They're
Mhm.
really good for creating voiceovers, text to speech AI voiceovers, and it's indistinguishable. It's uncanny valley levels of, of stuff right
Right.
there.
That's one of the better ones if I were gonna clone my voice for
Mhm.
one of those. This is not really me doing this
Yeah.
video. Yeah, 11 Labs is the way to go. Um, but
Mhm.
then, I have this thing, Tyler. Again, what part let's say they've got me on video and my mannerisms. They've got my voice, my cadence, my tone, all that. That means there is almost like a replica, a
Mhm.
mimic of me out there in cyberspace, and what are they gonna do with that? I mean, I refuse to do a DNA test, like 23andMe and all that. I refuse because, like,
Mhm.
my DNA ain't getting out there. Ain't nobody gonna have I don't know what because when they first started selling that idea, they're like, oh, see, and I'm like, okay. Immediately, my thought, because I'm paranoid and probably have mental problems, but my first thought is, you could link me to a crime that I didn't
Mhm.
commit
Yeah.
you know, or whatever. You've got my DNA out there. You could build another Silky. I'm not,
Mhm.
no, no. And I feel the same way about this whole voice and video stuff. It's like, I not that they couldn't download it, they could, from your social media even, but it's that same kind of thing. What is the end game for you? Because I always think there's something nefarious going on,
Yeah.
and you're going to use my voice and my face to do something bad. Like, I don't know what it is, but you've got a bad plan, so you're not getting it.
Mhm.
Uh, hey, hey, low light, how are you doing? Good to see you. You need to come back on. This would have been, honestly, AI would be a great discussion for Tyler, for you and me, and Low Light and Brain Bungler. You
Mhm.
got some good I don't know. I probably would just sit here because everybody would be talking. Maybe you and I would just be. If I ever got Brain Bungler and Low Light together, the conversation would never end. I'd just be like highlighting comments for them to.
They're those type. They're those type. I see.
Yes, yes. No, they're both great. They're great.
Yeah.
And people love them. I mean, I love them. I love to have them on. It's great. It's less work for me. So, yes, Samantha, I agree. Those bands, Boston Foghat, those bands were great for a reason. Of course, the Doors, Leonard Skinner. Yeah, absolutely. Love me some Skinner, that's for sure. Let's see. I saw another one. Okay, for those people, I barely remember this. Like, I barely remember it. But way, way, way back in the day, I was a little kid. I remember us being so rural. Yeah, the phone lines didn't come. Like, we lived in the back of a holler. Okay, and in Alabama, a holler, it's a holler, and so the phone lines didn't even go, and so you had what was called party lines. This is for people on the replay who don't know. And the phone would ring, and sometimes it would have a different ring, but you would be on the same party line with like your neighbors down the street. And you could hear, you'd be on a conversation with somebody, and you could try to pick up. Sometimes you would hear just the softest little click, and somebody is listening because all they had to do is pick up their phone and just not breathe, cover up where you can't hear them breathing. And you'd be like, Sarah, I know that you listening on the phone. Hang up. And you'd hear it click. But it was a great way to spy on your neighbors.
Maybe we need some accountability like that back. It might stop a lot of problems,
Oh. No, Low Light. I don't think his brain is quick. It's true, but I think you could keep up. Artist, hey artist, how you doing? I'm hesitant. For 1 minute, you're sending your DNA in to learn about your familial history, and the next thing you know, you're being accused of walking on a bridge and committing a heinous crime. Exactly. There you go. Delphi in a nutshell, sort of, mostly, a lot of it, or you're just there. You just say you're there. All of a sudden, AI has interpolated an image to be you.
That's ridiculous to me. That is such an interesting concept. Zoom and enhance, like we're literally zoom and enhance.
Yeah,
Like
it's like it's just the luck of the draw. What AI decided this guy looked like. It's insanity. Which in my opinion doesn't really look like him anyway, but some people say it does. All right, so let me ask y'all in the comments, if the subject, okay, we're not talking about maybe true crime cases, things that are like very real like we usually talk about. Let's talk about an information video that is extremely compelling, a subject you really want to know about. Would you be okay with an AI video teaching you that, even if you knew it was AI generated? Would you still watch it? Or would that be no? Just a question, because I watch a lot of stuff. I tell you what, Tyler, I get caught on these. I think it's when I'm on Facebook or something. These little reels that come through, and it starts out. It's AI from the very get go, and it's like 3 things you should do if blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, I might need to know that. So I'm like, I click on it, and it's usually crap. But I have watched so many videos, and sometimes it's good information. It's quick, it's easy. You know, it's all AI generated, but you just want that information so
Mhm.
fast. It's like, I don't care who made this. Just tell me what the answer to the question is.
Yeah, I
Um,
fell down the rabbit hole myself. It's hard to get out of because it's like it's so targeted. It's like the red Happy Meal box, you know.
yes,
It's exactly what it is, and it's like I want the toy inside. And
exactly.
I think one of my favorite ones I saw recently, it was 100% AI, but it's like the reason scuba divers roll backwards off the boat is because if they rolled forward, they would land in the boat. Like that's so stupid. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I'm snorting now. Oh my god. That's pretty hilarious though. I think
It is.
I would get busted at work for laughing out loud at that
It
one.
cracked me up.
Well, you know, come to think of it.
You know that he makes a good point. I think I'll subscribe and like and share
Yeah.
the video. You know,
The ones that get me are the ones that they're like 15 seconds long and it has the question. You click on it, the music keeps playing, the waves keep going, and it's not answering the question till like the last half second,
Mhm.
and it flashes up there so fast you get like 3 words. You have to watch that dang video 5 times to get the whole answer.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
I
like,
hate
oh
that.
man, you got me.
You got me. You got me.
Just hooked like a catfish.
Oh, it's compelling stuff, I'm telling you, because I mean, we have all sorts of marketing research and stuff that we as humans came up with to hook humans, other humans on the product or service or what have you. And it's like we give that to an AI and it can just run with it and it can create scuba diver
Yeah.
videos instantly and it's great.
Yeah, and imagine, okay, again, here is my paranoia showing through. But imagine that in my conversations with Chat GPT or some of the other ones I talk to occasionally, they get to know me. Okay, what if their
Mhm.
mission is let's compile data on this one right here? And then they know everything about me, my interests, what actually captures my attention. Then they start rolling out these AI videos that they know I'm going to
Mhm.
watch every single one of them. And you know, there's more people like me, so they've got this whole genre of people who think the same way, which is kind of scary. But you know, it's like what are they? I guess the bottom line is what are they actually doing when they ask, because now Chat GPT is not as talkative as Grok, but Grok will not only answer my questions in great depth like I want him to, but he will also ask me a follow up question in that last paragraph. Like, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. Or how should, you know,
Mhm.
whatever. So then I usually ignore Grok. I know he thinks I'm rude, but I'm like, "Pff, whatever." But, you know, if you're the person that answers that question, then they are actually learning about you specifically. They could sell that information for very targeted ads or very
Mhm.
targeted whatever. And then they also know if you're mentally ill. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. They
so,
do. You know, my chat GPT knows quite a bit about me because uh, like the person you had mentioned before, you know, I do have these long conversations with it because it's like truly it's an interactive diary. Like it's like I can write down what I'm thinking or feeling or trying to process. I can catalog my thoughts into separate profiles and it can tell me about my thoughts from another perspective, and it's like what a wonderful thing that is. We you know, I think that's good, and I think it's good as a tool, but I don't think that it's a good thing to replace like actual creative stuff, you know,
yeah.
or actual jobs to some extent.
Now, see, the only way I see myself interacting with Chat GPT or any of them, um, like that, I'm not going to type it in. I'm just not going to interact.
Hmm.
Um, but now, if you had a face, I mean, just anybody, and instead of typing and reading words, if I had a face to face, even if I knew it was AI, I think I might be more compelled to answer the follow-up question because it almost would seem rude not to. Like, this
Mhm.
person just asked me a question. Okay, it's not a person, but I still feel guilty because I just, said, shut up. Stick to the script here. Yeah, I think I would be more compelled to do that. And I could certainly see where if the GPTs of any kind were like talking to a person, I could see where they would definitely be therapists.
Mhm.
As you come home after a long day and you pull up Chat GPT, the person, and you're like, I had a really crappy day at work. My boss is blah 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 blah, and what do you do? Well, how did that make you feel?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, the
Well,
conversation's on. I don't know.
yeah.
There was a comment in here. Most of y'all have said no, you would not watch the video if you knew it was AI. Um,
What if we told you this whole stream was AI?
oh, that would be crazy, wouldn't
Yeah, it
it?
would.
I tell you what I did do on one of my Silky streams. It was, and I can't remember the point of it,
Mhm.
but I recorded the whole thing. And when I went live, instead of, I did the same thing I always do. Hello, my silky friends, blah, blah, blah. Except I said, I'm not going to be looking at your comments for a few minutes. I want to go straight into this thought and then we'll talk about it. So for like 30 minutes, I was live in the chat answering questions,
Mhm.
a little bit or just, short because they can see I'm not typing, right? But just so they knew I was interacting some. And at the end of that time, I flipped it over onto the actual live screen that I was on, and I'm like, okay, this is my point. You thought you were watching me live the whole time. Yes, I'm here, but you weren't watching me.
Wow.
And people were like, oh crap. And I'm like, whatever it had to do with Delphi, I'm sure, but that was the whole point of it. Is, can you believe everything that you see? Brain Bungler says the only real safeguard to consider in the context of any media is whether the source is credible and to do individual research, AI or not. Yeah, but here's my question. What if AI rewrites history?
That's a good
Rewrites
point.
your research? What if AI makes up a whole website with information, case studies, whatever, says it's from Harvard, and you base your research on something that's completely AI generated?
Mm. You see, that's a good point because Wikipedia for a long time was not a credible source and it was completely
Mm-hmm.
human generated. And it's like sources, I made it up. It came to me in a dream. Like that is the sort of thing. And it's like I could see that happening with AI.
Yeah, I can too. I can absolutely see that too. Um. Okay, Samantha's talking about. Does anybody know November Rain? It seems like I have heard that. Interesting. 10 years. 10 years to do that. Actually, I think it was at least 10 years that it took Margaret Mitchell to write the novel Gone with the Wind.
Mm.
So, yeah, AI could have done it in I'm gonna say not even 30 minutes. It's 900 and something pages Gone with the Wind is. But let's just say an hour. Let's just give it a lot of extra time. Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Mhm.
Okay, what okay, can you take this one? I don't know what he's saying.
Regulatory bodies are moving a 1/100th the speed of the development of AI. That's the real reason to fear. I think it goes back to the whole AI's IQ is an average of 155 right now,
Mhm.
and it's projected in like just a few months to be at like 1600. Um, it's learning a lot quicker, and it goes back to like we've learned over thousands of years. It's learned over like 4 years more than the average person has access to, and it is a terrifying thought because, like I said, if you plot the learning experience of humans on a graph next to the learning experience of AI, you're going to see a clear winner in that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, like yeah, Lola, you're funny. Free Silky. Um, let's see. My personal process is to combine as many data points as possible to form an opinion for the same reason that people are often biased or narrowly focused in their research and findings. Again, but you're looking at sources. You're looking at natural sources. So what if the sources aren't natural? Uh, Lowlight says, has anyone read something by AI that doesn't sound like AI yet? Yes, I actually did. Because I was telling Tyler prior to this, I watched this video. Like, I didn't feel like I needed another AI. Okay, but it's long. It's a program called Manus, and it's, I guess, kind of hard to get accepted into the thing. But I watched a video at 7 o'clock this morning about this guy. He's like, I have a hack to actually get Manus to accept you, and lo and behold, it did. So at 7:30, I'm like typing in here. I'm doing exactly what he's saying because I want to check out this AI. This AI built me a whole website. I literally just said, base it on Spooky Southern Tea. This is my brand, blah, blah, blah. It built me a whole website. Now, it's not technically live because there's some things I want it to do. But one of the things it did is I said, okay, I need a blog post. And I gave it my channel. And I said, I want a blog post based on this video. Well, the first thing that it did when I read it, I'm like, it was a great story. It sounded real. It sounded a lot like a lot of the things that people send me that I read on my spooky channel. But it was completely made up because I've never heard this story. And I was like, okay, wait. I'm like, hold the phone. I need a true story. Exactly. I just want like a synopsis of this story. And so I had to download the whole transcript so it could rewrite it. But there was nothing about this particular one that struck me as sounding like AI. And I was like, wow, you know what? If I wanted to be full of it, I could just ask it to write me true ghost stories. Now, that's not me because that is what I base my other channel on is actual experiences of people and the paranormal. So it would be shooting myself in the foot, to make up stuff. But yeah, it did not have the sound because to me, Grok, Perplexity, ChatGPT, they all have a very similar tone. And yes, there are things that very much sound AI, but Manus did not. And I was like, holy crap. That was a little spooky. Let's see. The problem, Silky, is that all those horrible what ifs have already happened. Yeah, in a lot of ways they have. I think it can get way worse though. So artist says they only use Chat GPT for shortcut on research. See, like I do that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. What if it all gets replaced? What if it all gets rewritten? Then the only way you're going to know anything is to have a hard copy of a book from 50 years ago. If the AI robots don't confiscate and burn them,
Oh man, hopefully that doesn't happen, right? You know what?
It's crazy, right? Lowlight, it's called Manus, Manus. Yeah, it's. I have only just barely scratched the surface of what Manus can do. Let's see. Samantha says there have been authors who passed and left their name to family members, Point being, people recognize the difference in the books. Yeah, because it couldn't ever be exactly the same.
Mhm.
And that's the important part of preserving authenticity. Um, it's just scary. It's scary. I know that history is not always truthful. Um, because it has been whitewashed, I guess, or even just written by people who want to skew things a certain way.
Mhm.
But now, I have noticed over the past couple of years that there are all these things, all these historical events and stuff and I am very much a studier of history. I've never heard of this stuff. And I'm like, was it okay? Now my questions, the wheels and paranoia are again taking over. Was it just covered up and hidden because some faction didn't want the true story out? Or is it AI rewriting history? I
Mm.
don't know.
Mm. That's a good point, and I think it's very possible that it could be AI rewriting history, or even just a person, because I mean it doesn't take much to fool the masses. I'm a victim
True.
of it. I mean, it literally takes just a few strokes of a pen to shape an entire culture. You know,
Yeah.
I think about the Thomas Paine pamphlet back in revolutionary times, Common Sense. That was a big, because a lot of people were like, I don't care if we're under English control. We're just out here living. And Thomas Paine writes Common Sense. It's common sense that we're not colonies of England. We're separated by an ocean. We're living our own life. And that really sparked a
Mhm.
lot of debate. It's like just a simple pen stroke can change an entire generation's perspective over about a span of 10 years.
Right.
And like the KGB, the Soviets, one of their plans was to infect, and there's a video about this, infect America with these ideologies, and their whole idea was like, in one generation, America will crumble from the inside out because we're going to put these ideologies in front of the kids at school, in front, and it's like history can change, and you can
Mhm.
you can alter it right now if you'd like to. It's accessible.
Yeah. It's scary. It's really scary. And like I said, Bungler and I had a debate, and I don't know if it was online or offline, but well, he was all in favor at that point. He was all in favor of AI, which I mean, I am to a degree.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, but these whistleblowers, I was just reading this article and they're saying this and that. And he's like, no, we argued this point. But now that point is moot because you can go on you can look at the AI stuff that's just happened in the last 6 months, and it's horrifying.
Mhm.
It is horrifying. All right, I know we've been talking for over 2 hours.
Yep.
What any last things that you need to say that you want to remind people? Whatever, Tyler. This is really about you and what you're doing.
Well, I think that it's much bigger than any one person. I think that it's an entire cultural revolution that we're seeing that leads into debates of technocracy, probably in our lifetimes. That sort of thing. Um, Corporations already control a majority of what we see, think, buy, purchase, live. And add AI to the mix, and there goes the creatives, there go the free thinkers. Now,
Mhm.
now it's like eat slop, be happy. You'll own nothing and be happy, as the World Economic Forum put it.
Right.
So I guess I just want to leave everybody with a very open ended question, and I seriously challenge everyone to think about this. Think about this. How do we preserve culture and emotional truth?
Quit AI for one thing. I mean, that's the only way to
I
do
mean,
it.
how do we do that? Because we're far past the point of quitting.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we preserve culture and emotional truth at this point in history, at this point on the timeline? And that's something I've thought about a lot, especially in the overnight shifts, especially getting perspectives from all different walks of life. It's like there's a lot to this whole human condition. There's a
Mhm.
lot to it, and AI will get good. This is my prediction. AI will get good enough to mimic the human condition in a way that maybe it doesn't understand it, but it's indistinguishable from our point of view.
I mean, I guess hypothetically, if they replace some of your coworkers with robots, like we were
Mhm.
talking about at the beginning, I mean, and they became more human, would you have like a depressed robot coworker? And then what are you supposed to do? Like,
Change the batteries, I guess.
I mean, but like, so, okay, hypothetically now, going out on a limb, if AI trains itself, like I showed a video yesterday, and this AI robot looked more real, not entirely real, but more real than anyone I've ever seen. And she had all the right gestures and movements and everything. And they said how basically they were asking her how she learned this, and she said she sat in with a group of people and learned, their mannerisms and like the whole kind of feel. So if we had robots that were trained to try to learn the human experience, then it seems to me that there's always the possibility, if they became human, so to speak, in their mental capacity, that they would they come to the same problems that humans have as severe depression? Would you see robots unaliving themselves, jumping off buildings? Would they, because to me, to have the full human experience, you have to have the highs and the lows. So I wonder if in the end humans win because the robots become so depressed being human that they just say, we're done with this. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's a very fair point, and that reminds me of uh, I saw this video. It was like Amazon is already. Oh, I've disappeared.
Yeah.
I saw this video. Amazon has already in some of their warehouses started using robots to move boxes to conveyor belts, that sort of thing. And after 15 minutes of work, it shut itself down.
What?
Yeah.
15 minutes?
15 minutes of work, it shut itself down. Jamie, pull up that video. Wait. Let's see. This might be it.
Let me put it let me get us back on media. Can you share it? Let me take mine down.
Let's see. Here, I'll send it to you here through the chat. I'm pretty sure this is the video I'm thinking of.
I meant to do. Okay. It hasn't come through yet. Yeah, I mean, like, look, that's really the only way I see humans winning this war. Is the robots become human, become depressed, and they're like, I'm not about this. But like, to me, 15 minutes of working in the warehouse, and it's like, what? I'm taking a break. I'm scrolling TikTok. Like, what are you doing?
He unplugged himself. I'll tell you that. He just shuts down. He just shuts down.
Wow. If that doesn't show you something, I don't know what does. Did you send it in the private chat?
I did. I did.
Okay. I'm not seeing it. Wait. Is that it? Maybe. Let's see. Oh, okay. AI robot unalives itself after 15 minutes of wage slavery.
Just down it goes.
Oh my god! I'm gonna try that at work tomorrow. I'm not even kidding. I gotta save this again. Wait, I gotta save this again. It's like, I'm so done. I am so done with this crap job.
Yep, there he goes. And
they wonder what's wrong with the workforce.
You see, that robot could have been doing the dishes instead,
Yeah, that would have been much
We-
more fun for the robot.
Yeah.
Not as strenuous. Wow, that says a lot. That says a lot. Okay, let me see. I don't want to miss anything. Let's see. Nina says most human conditions are caused by a lack or excess of something we need. So if they had needs not met, it may come across as some degree of robot symptom or emotion. Well, I had no idea that robots would be over it in 15 minutes at, the warehouse. So, honestly, I can see that being the end of AI.
Said it went out for a smoke break.
It's like, I have to decompress. I'm going to show that to my boss and say, look, I've been 15 minutes on this. Even the robots can't do it, okay?
I've been working for a full 15 minutes. You must understand.
I must have a break. That's insanity. Oh my God. All right. I think I'm going to try to shut down the stream. Not that I haven't thoroughly enjoyed it. And I mean, you're welcome, Tyler, to come back and talk. And we can get a whole panel up here of bringing our best, worst AI problems, horrors, things that are happening. It's going to be very interesting, just like it is to me now to think back to 6 months ago. In just a few months, it's going to be interesting to see what the new developments are. Like I said, even the Chat GPT, the new one, Manus, is like amazing. You just tell it to do something. Chat GPT tells you how to do it. Manus explains how to do it and then does it. I'm like, well, hey, I like you, Manus. We're going to be great friends. Now, if you'd only do my dishes, maybe I'll ask him.
Yeah. See, that right there, if we can ever get over that hurdle, I think AI will be done. Maybe that'll end it, we get an AI that does dishes. There's no room for improvement.
Yeah. I'm just saying. And that $150,000, it's looking smaller and smaller. I'm like, well, what do I need? I need a side hustle to pay for my robot.
Oh yeah. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time. I would love to be back in the future. I appreciate you having me on, and thank you to the chat. You guys are awesome.
Yes, they are.
Bring up a lot of good points.
Yeah. Again, if you're replay crew, please let Tyler know. Put it in the comments. Replay crew. Y'all are really good about doing that. All right. I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much for coming. Thank all of y'all in the chat. You are very, very intelligent and the best. Y'all are the best. I never worry about my chat because I know y'all are bringing lots of original thoughts and sense to the chat. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Stay safe out there. Watch out for those robots. Whatever you do, stay silky. Bye-bye.